Get inspired. Get motivated. Light your fire. Create your life. This is Creativity Sparks Journal.
Hi, this is Tami-Patzer, and I am happy to introduce you to today's guest, Alice Best Jackson. Hi, Alice.
Hi, Tammy. Thanks for having me.
Alice is a recovering divorce lawyer, author, radio host, and frequent radio guest, intuitive artist, and proud grandma. I'm really thrilled because Alice is totally different than any other guest I've ever had. As the creator of Intuitive Spirit Art Designs, a method of automatic drawing used during private readings and Messages from Beyond events, Alice's art by Allie is featured in Imagery From Beyond, a Messages from Beyond coloring book series. Alice has used automatic writing for her personal spiritual growth since 1982, and she teaches the craft of offering her experience and guidance to others. During her legal career in South Florida, that was between 1977 and 99 under Janet Reno, she began as a legal secretary and paralegal, and then she was the assistant state attorney. And she also owned and managed a successful private practice in family law and resided as the traffic court magistrate in Miami-Dade County, which if you're from Florida, that is a huge area. She and her husband, Dennis Jackson, who is a native of Washington State, relocated to the Seattle area in 1999 to be near family and to experience their next great adventure. And just to let you know, I will be interviewing Dennis Jackson separately because Alice and Dennis actually are a team, and they also do a popular internet radio show, Messages from Beyond, and they're also experts on the subject of twin souls and relationships. Alice's resume is so long and broad. I want her to tell you more about herself and how she got involved in creating coloring books. So Alice, I'll let you take it.
Oh, thanks, Tammy. Yeah, I guess when you get to be this age, your resume just keeps building. Well, actually, what happened was after I retired from practicing law, Dennis and I started doing readings together. We wrote a book called Together Again, Twin Souls Reunite in Love and Life, which we published in 1999, and then hit the road traveling and doing book signings across country like 14 times. And we had a blast doing that for several years. And when we started doing the readings together, I would just sit and just chicken scratch doodle. Didn't really do much. I never drew. I was never an artist, never considered myself an artist. My father was an artist, and he did amazing abstract art. And one day during a message circle, I started drawing, and Dennis looked at me and said, "Wow, it looks like you're channeling your father." And I looked at it, and it was the type of art that my father did. In fact, it's the image that we use on the front cover of our first coloring book. And my dad crossed over. He was in the process of dying. He crossed over exactly 1 week later. And this was in July of 2001. And I've been doing this type of artwork ever since. And that's how it all began.
Wow. So the adult coloring book craze, I know coloring books have been around for a long, long time. And there's just so much in my mind that I want to ask you, but your coloring book series is Imagery From Beyond. So talk a little bit about the books that you've created or are creating, and what is that process?
What happens is when I draw, I don't think about it. And this is why we call it From Beyond, because it is truly channeled, and it's not me doing it. It's the pen taking off. And what I do is I've always worked with Sharpies, just simple Sharpies. And I start a drawing, and I use a 5x8 card, and just one continuous line that, I mean, you might just call a squiggle or a doodle. And then I fill in. And I've always filled in with color. And I always say, I don't choose the colors, the colors choose me. And I'll go to one color and my hand might move to another color. And the colors, interestingly enough, have always brought through messages to the people being read. I always did an individual drawing for each person, and the colors would mean birth months, like birthstones of someone's birthday, a passing, or an anniversary date. And then the images come to life once they're created. And in August of this last year, someone said, "Hey, why don't you put them in a coloring book?" And I said, "I never thought about it." And that's how it happened.
So how many drawings are in each book?
In my first book, there are 62 colorable pages, 31 individual drawings that are recreated on the page right after it in shadow form with a positive affirmation. That is our book 1, Imagery From Beyond. Book 2 in the series, also called Imagery From Beyond, which will be book 2, are all abstract drawings with tangled borders. And there's going to be 40 images in that book. Actually, there are 40 images in that book. As I say this, it's in the process of being ready for everybody to get.
So your books are obviously adult coloring books, but are they in themes, or how would you, in all of the coloring books out there, where obviously you have that unique imagery from beyond, how would you put them in terms of who likes your coloring books?
They would be people that like abstract art and tangled art, the tangled form. I never heard the word tangling before I got into this. I've been doing this type of artwork and doodling and drawing for 15 years. And one day I was in the store looking at the other coloring books to see what was out there. And I saw a book that was called Tangled and Zentangle. And I stopped dead in my tracks. I said, I don't believe this. I've been doing this intuitively for years, and now it has a name. So that's where it comes from. So I guess my theme would be abstract art. I'm not a colorist. I don't even color my own work. I have a team of colorists that I've found through social media, and they're wonderful all over the world that enjoy coloring this. And that's what brings it to life. And if somebody wants to color scenery or, have a blue sky and a yellow sun and green grass, that's not me, because you can use any colors you want in my art. And I guess the best compliment I've had is when people compare it to Picasso.
That's a pretty high compliment.
Style. Yeah, I said, I'll take that. Someone said to me once, I don't want to, offend you, but it's very Picasso-esque. In fact, my husband's doctor said that to me, and I said, I don't take that as an offense at all. I love that. Thank you.
I think it would be because they're comparing you, obviously, to a well-known artist.
Works for me.
There's a lot of coloring books that go beyond the pen and ink, and I'm seeing a lot of questions and talk about Grayscale books. Can you talk a little bit about if you're planning on doing anything in the Grayscale book, and maybe even tell people what Grayscale is?
I don't think I'm the right person to say what it is, but basically it's just take a photo and put it in Grayscale, and people actually color in that. And we are planning that. We're planning an entire series to do like that. One is I've got 15 years of art in sketch pads that I've been collecting and saving. Usually I give my originals away. But in the early years, I have all of this art that I found. And at first I was thinking, well, how do I remove the color? And that was too difficult to do. And now I'm thinking, I'm just taking those pieces and I will put them in Grayscale. I've tested it and it works great. And those will be books down the road, maybe 3, 4, and 5, of my original artwork, which is still the same doodled art that already had color in it. The color will be removed, and we'll put them in the book and show the colored form on the covers. And then my husband, Dennis, has, in our 15 years of traveling together, we have tons of travel photos. And we're going to be doing photos, coloring books in Grayscale, and doing different travel portions. Because people like that when they go to different states. When they're visiting a city or a state, they can take a coloring book with them.
And they end up with something that becomes theirs, and that's more original than just having photographs.
Exactly. And it's fun. It's
Yes.
just, I mean, they're still going to take their own photographs, but it's fun to have and say, oh, yeah, I just colored that. There's Devil's Tower. Or there's Mount Rushmore.
Or Mount Shasta. I saw Mount Shasta and took a great photograph of that from the wayside. So do you believe, I think I know the answer, but I'm not going to put words in your mouth. Do you believe that coloring is therapeutic? And since you are an intuitive, do you think that it helps people get in touch with themselves and perhaps even with their source?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a form of meditation. We have 12 meditation CDs or MP3s now that are all available on iTunes and through our website. But it's, you just get lost. Even I don't color, but one day I was on the phone with tech support who was in control of my computer and working on something. And I picked up my coloring book and I started coloring. And for an hour and a half while he was in my computer letting me know that I had a bad program that I had to replace, I was totally relaxed. And it was amazing to me how relaxing it was. The therapeutic benefits that people tell us just blow me away. And that's what it's all about. That's why coloring is not a fad. It's here to stay because it is helpful. The doctors are recommending it. And we see from the people online in the social groups, it helps them.
And they have something beautiful and tangible when they're finished. I think that's what I notice is that people really like the coloring books because it takes them out of the virtual world back into the real world, yet they can go share with all of their friends on social media and talk about it and show what they did and everything. Sure. So it helps create the bonds that we're all missing.
And then it's also nice because they're able to interact with the artist, and it becomes more personal that way. And I call them my friends, these people I've never met, but they're fabulous colorists and the other artists. And we have this bond. And what we're doing is we're all getting in touch with our inner child from deep down. We're going back to our childhood where everything was pure and simple. And you can't be upset or sad when you're coloring and creating something beautiful.
I think you're absolutely right. I wanted to ask you about, maybe get a few tips from you since that you have been creating art for such a long time. I know a lot of people would like to keep the art that they do, maybe even give it away as a gift. Do you have any suggestions for how to use some of your coloring work? You know, remember when Mom used to hang, put our stuff up on the refrigerator? Well, now maybe we want to give Mom what we just colored in a frame. And how do we do that? Do you have any good ideas on good ways to preserve or make your piece of coloring into a gift?
Absolutely. We specifically designed our books to be 8 by 10. They're not 8.5 by 11. They're 8 by 10 so that you could tear the page out or print it onto another page, but it fits perfectly into an 8 by 10 frame. And the new borders that I have, people have told me that makes a perfect frame by itself. So if you get one of the all glass frames, you don't even have to buy a regular picture frame. Get one of the all glass frames and put them in, or those lucite ones where you can just pop it in, it has the cardboard behind it, and you can hang them up and get them at the dollar store. And they make perfect gifts. Another thing people are doing is you scan the colored picture that you've done, print it out onto an iron-on transfer, and put it onto bags, put it onto T-shirts. I do a lot of my art on canvas bags, original art, but I'm been told that I can just start putting my art on as an iron-on. And those are all different ways. People shrink wrap or shrink them, and they put them on the baked things that you could put in the oven. There's tons of things that you can do with the art. Upload it and put it onto coffee mugs.
Oh, interesting. I like the idea that you do your books in the 8 by 10 format, because that does eliminate any issue of somebody saying, oh, I can't find a frame, or having to buy a mat to put around the art. And exactly. So you can, like you said, you can go to the dollar store and get a nice frame. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the business side of coloring books. If I wanted to start, if I want to become a coloring book producer or publisher, what advice would you have for me?
Have lots of time.
Okay, time.
It's very time consuming. First, you have to love what you do. We did this because it's the art that I enjoy doing. We started doing it because, we thought, well, maybe it's a fad. We may as well do it. But it's no longer a fad. It's a business. I'm not in this to make money, to get rich. If it happens, that's fine. But I'm in it to share my art with the people. There are many people out there that are doing it as a business. More power to them, but I don't have that kind of support staff behind me. It's just the two of us. So I don't know. I just do mine because it's all my original art. I love it. I put my heart and soul into it. I'm not doing it. I'm not creating computer graphics and things that some of these main big companies are doing, or they're getting stock people to do them. I don't even know from that end of the business. I really don't. I may not be the right one to ask about that.
Well, I think that since you and Dennis are publishing your own books, and already I know that you have a little bit more savvy than the average person, just by the fact that, like I said, 8 by 10 is a good size for a coloring book, because then it makes it easy to put into a frame. And then you obviously have a brand, and you're moving forward. Right. So when you think about it in terms of a business, you have a good business idea that you're doing.
If it happens, it happens. And really, because of our spiritual beliefs, we just know the universe will put the right people and the right opportunities in our path. And that's where we go. In fact, when I do my design, my pictures, separate from the borders. And I don't draw them all at once. So I do my pictures on a 5 by 8 card. I do the borders on an 8.5 by 11 piece of stock, good vellum stock. And then Dennis scans them each in, and we pretty much let the universe decide which two go together.
Oh, I like that.
That's how it happens.
Well, I think that's really a good way to do it, and it's also extremely creative. I bet there's a lot of people who are chomping at the bit right now and saying, where can I find out more about the art of Alice and Dennis Jackson?
We are at imageryfrombeyond.com, which is also messagesfrombeyond.com. The two are tied in together. That is our main website. Our books are available on Amazon. Just search my name, Alice Best Jackson, or Imagery From Beyond. I also have an Etsy shop called Imagery From Beyond. Surprise. And I'm putting individual pictures on there that I'm finding people in South Africa or Australia have a difficult time getting the books because it's so expensive for shipping. So they like the downloads, the individual pages. So I'm putting as many pages as I can up on Etsy. I'm also doing a series of expressions like happy birthday, or I'm a grandma, it's a boy, it's a girl, happy anniversary. And I'll design anything you want. If you want a special saying with a special name on it, I'll do that for you. Just let me know.
Oh, I like that. That's also something different. And I mean, I have talked to people who do everything from positive affirmations to sweary to that, but just everyday expressions is also an ideal way to get things across in the individual pages. And that is very helpful for people who live in places where the cost of getting the book, the shipping is prohibitive. So is there anything that you'd like to remind our listeners about, or do you have any new books coming up, or what's going on with that?
Our series is Imagery From Beyond, a Messages from Beyond coloring book series. So Dennis has plans to go 1 to 25, and we're going to book 1 and 2 are out books. The rest of them will all have the same title and just numbers. So it's very easy to find. I have an author page on Amazon, Alice Best Jackson. I'm also one of the authors, by the way, of the adult coloring book Treasury. That is being put out by 55 artists with 110 illustrations for no profit, $6. That's it. And I was honored to have the third image of mine chosen for the This Book Belongs To page. So that is mine as well. And if you're a Treasury fan and you have that, you can find my art in there to see how you like it and test it out. But I want to say one thing about when we were talking about the happy birthday cards. When you go to a store and buy a birthday card, these days they're anywhere from $5.99 up. It's crazy. And these cards for $1.50, you download and you take the card and you could color it and give it to someone as a gift in a frame, or give it to them uncolored with a gift card to a craft store that they can color themselves.
That is a phenomenal gift. It's affordable, and the gift of art and creativity, I think, is probably one of the best gifts ever. My grandmother, when I was a little girl, used to send me a box of art supplies for Christmas. And I still remember that, and it has lasted a lifetime, the appreciation of being creative and to color and to just express.
It's great. I mean, I use my granddaughter's inexpensive Crayolas. Those are the best things to color with. You don't have to have all of this expensive stuff. I use Sharpies and gel pens, simple gel pens and Crayolas. I bought the Prismacolor because everybody was raving about it. I said, okay, what's this about? If I'm an artist, I guess I should have this. And I picked them up. I tried them. I don't get it. They don't work for me. I think they're going to wind up being a gift for some of my colorists down the road.
Well, I really appreciate all the time you took with me, Alice, today. And also, remember, I will be contacting both you and Dennis again, because we certainly have a lot to talk about beyond coloring books with your Imagery from Beyond and Messages from Beyond. It's a very exciting and interesting topic. So I really appreciate all the time you took with me today.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate the opportunity to get out there and let people know who we are. There's so many new artists that people can try. And I'm honored and delighted when they try mine and post it online. And I thank you for the opportunity. And people can find us at our website, messagesfrombeyond.com, Imagery From Beyond, and Facebook, Imagery From Beyond. And if you haven't heard it enough, it's Imagery From Beyond.
On that, this is Tami-Patzer. Go out and make it a great day.
Get inspired. Get motivated. Light your fire. Create your life. This is Creativity Sparks Journal.